BookTube! It's Missy. Long time no see. I was sick last week and so I missed Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my 3 video days. I didn't have a voice and so I couldn't make videos. And I missed you guys. And I'm sorry if I missed any of the videos you guys had uploaded this last week. I've, pretty much just been either sleeping or trying to catch up on my reading. So, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my weekly wrap-up for weeks 6 and 7. And last week was the A Year-a-thon Readathon, or it was actually, was it the week before? I think it was, well, anyways, week 6 was the A Year-a-thon Readathon, and that one was, the theme was diversity, and I didn't get to share with you guys what I read. And basically, out of the 4 books that I had chosen, I read 1 that week. I did finish 1 of them this week, but week 6, I only got to finish 1. So that one I did really enjoy, and that one was Love in the Time of Global Warming by Francesca Lia Block. I told you guys that this was an LGBT, and it is. But it's not like a huge focal point of the story, and me being naive to LGBT books, I didn't know how it would play out. Like, I didn't know if the romance would be like super in the forefront and have everything else in the background. I don't know why I thought that way, but it was basically a girl who liked a transgender boy and 2 boys who liked each other, and it was beautiful. So, regardless, the book is gorgeous. I can't wait to own the sequel, which together make a duology. And like I told you in the previous, I think it was my TBR, that this was a retelling of the Odyssey, which it is. So she plays the part of Odysseus. I think that's how you say it. I haven't read Homer's original yet. I do want to, though. And she follows his journey just like the book does, through all the different trials and tribulations that he goes through. So like with the giants, and there's lotus flowers that make you extremely drunk and addicted, and it's almost like a huge drug, and they're just like wigged out for a week or so. But basically it's about Penelope, who lives in LA in the Venice Beach area. And one day while her and her family are out in the backyard, a giant wave comes crashing through the house, and there's this huge earthquake that wakes the whole family up, and that's why they're actually outside. But regardless, Penelope survives. Her family is completely gone, and for 83 days she's left in her house alone, and she ticks off the days. And her dad was super paranoid, and he had like a basement full of canned goods and water, so she was able to survive. But she was lonely and she was scared, and she really just wanted to go out and search to see if there was any living people, outside of her street, and if her parents and her brother were still alive. There's a guy that shows up. His name is Mark. Something like that. I think it's Mark, though. He shows up one day and tells her he has a van waiting outside for her, and it's full of vegetable oil, and there's water and food and everything inside there, and there's a map of where her mom is in Las Vegas. And she doesn't understand who the stranger is, why he's trying to help her, but she thinks it's a trap. And she, takes the keys anyway, darts out, and starts going down, and comes upon a few other boys along her trip to rescue her family in Los Angeles. It was beautifully written. I can't emphasize enough how beautifully written it was. It's not a poem or anything, but it read very, not whimsically either. I can't describe it. It was just artistic and gorgeous and beautiful, and I could see the world, the after effect of the Earthshaker, and like this dystopian world that was left over from the earthquake and the waves and everything. And then the giants were really creepy, and there's sirens, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed Penn and Hex's relationship. I mean, it's going to be kind of an insta-love because it's the end of the world and you really don't have much time to get to know each other. But it was very beautiful, and it wasn't like too over the top or too gushy or anything like that. I liked it, and they were cute together, and I can't wait for the sequel. The second book that I finished in week 6 was Black Hull by Joseph A. Turcotte. This is my very first sci-fi dystopian set in outer space, and this is the first season, so it's chapters 1 through 6. I do not have chapters 7 and 8, which would be season 2, but I would like to get them eventually. Basically, this book is set in a... I don't even want to tell you, because I can't remember. At the beginning of the book, I was completely lost because I'm not used to this kind of world setting, and it's like so far from now, like 2300, something crazy like that. Anyways, Mick is the main character. Mick is part of the Fringe corporation. The best of the military is the Fringe, and so they go out and they explore, and I think they are the ones to do the bounty hunting, I want to say. I could be completely wrong. Like I said, the first chapter or two I was completely lost and I did not know what was going on. But regardless, Mick gets in trouble and goes to jail, and to keep his sentence from being 30 years, he says yes, he would join this black market group that needs to go out and mine this special ore, and that would make his sentence only 10 years, and he really wants to get back to his family, and so he does it. And when we meet Mick at the beginning of the book, he is drifting in outer space. He's in a emergency pod, and he's just floating there. There's not that much power left in the pod that he's in. He's dying. He just wakes up from cryo sleep, and he's confused, and he doesn't know what's going on. A very ancient droid, to his standards, rescues him from his pod, and then he journeys with this droid and meets the droid's master, or whatever. Her name's Sarah, and it's between him, Mick, and Sarah and their journey to getting to Utopia, and for Mick to get back to his family in the past. So basically what happens is he ends up in this emergency pod going through some kind of time warp, and it's actually like 900 years later, and it's called like a T-jump, I believe, where he needs to go and do a T-jump in order to get back to his present day, so that way he can go back and meet his wife. Like I said, it was my very first sci-fi. I'm thinking the next time I read one of these, I will be more familiar with the lingo that is used. I knew what cryosleep was only because I've seen a couple sci-fi movies before, but other than that, it was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was interesting, and I would like to read more sci-fi in the future. Alright, and then for this week's wrap-up, which was week 7, I read more Kindle books. Alright, so the first book that I read this week was The Paper Magician, and I got this for free as an e-arc from NetGalley. This is by Charlie N. Holmberg. I also got the sequel, The Glass Magician, which I can't wait to get to. This book is under 300 pages, and it was just so good. I didn't know what to expect. I've only read 2 magician books so far. The first one being The Night Circus, which Marco and Celia, I think her name's Celia. Marco and Celia are illusionists. And then I read Illusions of Fate, where that man was a magician, and that one was really good too. And so I didn't know what to expect going in with this one. Just a little disclaimer, I really enjoy slow books. Not like there's no plot and the whole storyline is stagnant, but a slow building storyline. And when I first saw this book, I was super excited because the cover is so beautiful, and I know it's black and white and you really can't see very well, but I just really like it. So this book is about a girl named Sione Twill. She's 19 and she's just graduated from the magically inclined, I guess it's like a college. And she was supposed to be getting a scholarship. At the last minute, it didn't go through. And so she was really worried that she wouldn't be able to become a magician. And in this world, you either are magically inclined or you're not. And if you are, it's a good career. All the magicians are material-based, but it has to be man-made. So there's paper magicians, metal magicians, which are called smelters. Paper magicians are called folders. There's also glass magicians. And I can't think, there was only the 3 that they showed in this book so far: glass, paper, and metal. But there's also the dark forbidden magic, which is called human magicians, and they are exorcists, something like that. Not an exorcist, but they bring things back from the dead, and they use blood as their magical material, which is a no-no in this society. So this is around 1902, I believe. I could be completely wrong, but it's in London, based in London, and Sione ends up getting to go to this college even though she lost her scholarship, because at the last minute she gets a donation by an anonymous donor, and so she works really, really hard and graduates within a year. Come to find out, the man that gave her the donation just so happens to be the man that will now be her mentor, because she will be apprenticing underneath him. The magician's name is Emery Thane, and he is the greatest paper magician in the country. There's only about 13, and the reason why Sione has to become a paper magician is because there isn't enough paper magicians around. So basically, she wanted to be a smelter, but ended up having to do paper because there just wasn't enough of these types of magicians, and so she just either did that or did nothing. And so she becomes the paper magician. Now, this whole story isn't about Sione at all, even though she's the main character. It's basically her as the passenger to Emery Thane and what his life was like before he became a folder and what happens with his future. I thought it was really great. Like I said, it's a little bit on the slow side. When I was reading the comments on this book on Goodreads after I had read the book, a lot of people had DNF'd it, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, did we read the same story? But it just depends on your taste. If you don't like slower building stories where it's not world-based and it's not necessarily romantic-based, it's just about this guy and how he got to be who he was and what is going to happen to Sione with Thane in her life. And the next book is The Glass Magician, so I'm sure we'll meet more of the characters that will end up being a part of Sione's life and how they interact, you know, together. This is a trilogy, so I am excited to finish the trilogy. The third one comes out this year. I'm not sure on the date, but the second one came out last year. And again, very exciting. I really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I would have given it 5, but for some reason there was just something that was missing. And it wasn't because it was slow or boring or anything. There was something missing, and I can't put my finger on what it was. But I really, really liked it. And if you like magic, I would check it out. The last book that I read during week 7 was The Dark Genesis by A.D. Kaboa. This is an ebook that I got for free on Amazon, and it's still for free if you would like to pick it up. This book I was supposed to read during the Diversity Week of the Year-a-thon Readathon. Oops. But I wasn't able to finish it during that week, and so I finished it this week. This book is about a slave from Mississippi and her love affair with a vampire named Avery. At the beginning of this book, you meet Dallas, who is an ancestor of Luna, and it is in Atlanta, Georgia, 2011, when Dallas comes across Luna's journal and gets to read about Luna's life. Luna lost her mom when she was 3 years old. Her mom was sold to another owner, another plantation owner, and so Luna grew up very bitter and like an outcast, kind of, because she didn't want to interact with any of the other slaves on the plantation. She was worried that she would become too attached to somebody and then lose that person. And so she stuck to herself and didn't let anybody enter her, like, her bubble, if you will. So Luna was very alone. Because Luna was alone so often, the master of the plantation ended up like looking at her and liking her. And so the beginning of this book has like triggers for people. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a trigger for me, but if you have triggers for these words, there was rape and abortion, and not only rape, but she was 9 when she was raped. So it was like molesting. And like I said, there's abortions in it, and a lot of like beatings, and I mean, it was pretty dire at the beginning of this story. Anywho, so there's lots of slavery storyline at the beginning, and then Luna gets taken by a vampire to an old mansion, and during her time with the vampire, she starts to fall in love with him. And, I mean, I knew this was going to be a vampire romance story, so I was expecting her to fall in love with the vampire, but it got on my nerves, the fact that she continuously considered herself a slave in his eyes because he was a white man. It just kind of got annoying. She was very whiny at times, and then she treated the vampire really meanly. Like, I understand vampires are supposed to be bad people and demons and everything, but she totally took advantage of his of his soft side. Like, he was very in love with her, and he wanted to do everything that he could to keep her safe and keep her happy, but she like sucked up all this power of like being able to make him do whatever she wanted, and if he told her no in any way, she would have a tantrum and just start walking off and like screaming at him, and I thought it was very childish. Okay, so Luna just seemed really whiny, and that drove me crazy. And then there is a part at the end of the book that just didn't make any sense, and I was kind of irritated with it, and then the book was over. And I'm thinking, what just happened? Like, another person said on Amazon, another commenter said that this was like reading a few different stories just thrown into one. And in a way, it kind of was, but in a way, it's fine. But at the same time, I was just a little irritated with the story as a whole. I did want to try out this second book in the series. It's called Dark Rising or Dark Rises, but my library does not carry this book, and it's $3.99 on Amazon. And so I don't know if I'm gonna buy it right now. Probably not for a while. The second book is all about Avery the vampire, and before he turned into a vampire in his entire life, and I think it might be in his POV as well. So I don't know when I'll get to it. But overall, it was a vampire book, and if you're looking for a real romantic vampire book, this is definitely not it. Alright, so those are the 4 books that I read in the last 2 weeks, and I'll just share with you guys what I'm currently reading. Sylvia over at Wish Fulfillment sent me a little message on Twitter. I think it was last night or the night before, and she said, we're starting, and I told her we could read Beautiful Creatures together by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll, and so I started it today, and we're supposed to get to 100 by Friday, which I think I'm at page 24. And so far, so good. I have seen the movie, so I'm familiar with the names and the storyline and everything. I'm just really hoping that this is better than the movie because I did not like the movie, or at least I didn't like the characters of the movie. We will see. Penelope over at Penelope's Picks really loves this this series, and so I definitely want to give it a go. I trust her judgment, and the covers are so gorgeous. I mean, how could you not? It's Southern Gothic, witches and all, and it's beautiful. So I can't wait to finish it. I don't know when we're going to finish, but we're going to continue to read it slowly. I'm also reading other books. I'm not going to mention them because you've seen them a million times. I still haven't finished some of those books, and I keep trying to read them. So we will see how much I get done by next Monday. That's it. I hope you guys had a good 2 weeks, and I'm sorry I missed ya. And I will talk to you soon. Hope you have a good night. Goodbye.